Hello, Christ the King. It's middle of the week, so it must be time for the midweek spiritual vitamin. I'm Pastor Bob, and I'm grateful to have you joining us today from wherever that might be. From the spiritual vitamin for today, we're going to take an item out of the news from the current state of affairs, something that I'm sure that many of us are wondering about, are curious about, concerned about, and quite frankly, just ready to be done with, and see more clearly what the new normal is as communities of faith. I think we want answers. But first, some scripture to ground us. From 1 Thessalonians, but examine everything carefully. Hold fast to that which is good. And then there's two passages from Hebrews. The first one says, but Christ was faithful as son over God's house, whose house we are, if we hold fast our confidence and boast of our hope firmly until the end. And the second passage from Hebrews, let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope that we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep God's promises. Now, as fall approaches, the debate about the opening of schools and in what fashion they will be opened has been a hot topic with opinions all over the board as to how to properly address the pending situation. Some are suggesting that schools should reopen fully, even if it means that some of the kids, teachers, workers, and their families will almost certainly get sick as a result. Some are suggesting options, brick and mortar or virtual learning. Some are advocating for a little bit of both, a blending. Some are advocating for an all-virtual platform until a vaccine is developed. And I think with most of these choices that are currently available, the core of many people's thought patterns are a return to whatever normalcy they are used to, or one that they're willing to withstand, or one that's in the best interests of the greatest number of people. And if there's going to be a new normal, and there will be, let's just get on with it. Pick one and run with it. I think that's where many people are today. But yet, as we all know, that particular approach is easier said than done. The need to return to some normalcy in school is just one of the reasons, or one of the things that people want firm, ironclad direction on. People of faith would like the same regarding the churches that they attend. What is the right approach? What options will I choose if given one? What will happen to the community of faith that I know and love during these times? The struggle is that there's no clear way forward. None has clearly emerged. There's no definitive, this is the right way, let's go with it. Nothing like that has surfaced to date. But the church, in many ways, continues to be the church. We are engaged in the world, finding ways to gather for worship in small groups in a way that many of us may have never imagined or, frankly, ever wanted to imagine. The learning of new things and trying new things and trying them out to see how they will fit. It is all a process. But while we may not be able yet to gather and worship in person, the church has never closed. We continue to unpack the best way forward with patience, due diligence, and willingness to take risks and venture out in new ways to be the church. And in times like these, people of faith and people who are part of communities, I believe, are called to be patient optimists, careful planners, and centered realists. And to do this while remaining flexible in a Gumby-like way. Now, I realize that I'm dating myself for those of you who are not familiar with Gumby, but there is much to explore online if you'd like to know more. Certainly, school children, teachers, workers, and families miss the rhythm that in-person brick-and-mortar school experience has brought to their lives in the past. We too, as church family, are missing the times of gathering with our friends and family for worship and for social engagements. We might even be wondering about the new pastor that joined, who we don't even really know during this very unusual time. But the risk is too great to rush into anything. This is more a time to explore and to be open to ways to safely and faithfully be the church, to be reminded that we are the hands and feet of God in the world, and we are called to model the best way forward, the best way we know how, no matter what we might be facing, to be as safe as possible, to be faithful as possible, to respect the individual interpretations of all those involved. And just like there are good reasons for schools to reopen fully, like the loss of in-person instruction and how it might have an impact down the road on students' learning, and just missing a chance or a place to go to release some of that energy and to be part of a community. Churches are certainly experiencing similar frustrations and are yearning to return to in-person worship. The absence has impacted all of us. We're just not used to it. We want to connect with our community as we have before. And at this point, however, there are no certain answers. The effect of coronavirus looms over every possible option for schools and for churches. Yet what is the church, which is the body of believers, to do as we wait for clear direction to emerge? We will continue to build our online presence and engage as many people as possible in this type of expression. We'll continue and start to explore slowly meeting in person and what that will look like. We'll meet in small groups, testing the waters, and fleshing out what it looks like with appropriate social distancing and protocols in place. We'll try our best, although it may be difficult, to remain calm and as patient as possible. And eventually, we're getting to whatever will become the new normal. But to get there is going to take time, due diligence, and patience. Ultimately, the health, safety, and security of the body, the church body, is always at the forefront of any decisions that are being made. Remember, especially during this time, that church leaders are feeling the same yearnings, have the same strong desire to return to worship and gatherings as many of you do. But remember, God is leading us during this time. Leaders are approaching this in a thoughtful, prayerful, and open-minded way, looking at how to faithfully move forward during these challenging times. So hold fast, be patient, pray for each other, and especially for all those making these difficult decisions without a clear and infallible way forward. As we think about all this, and as we engage in all this, may God continue to bless you during this time and always. Have a great week.